Today I'm going to go over the exponential function study guide with you. So let's make sure all things are clarified before your test. For number one, it says consider the pattern produced by the rule y is equal to 2.5 to the x. Complete the table below, rounding y to the nearest 10th. So we see this is our x column, and here we have our equation, y is equal to 2.5 to the x. So we plug in each x value, and that gives us our y. So y is equal to 2.5 to the 0, because x is 0 the first time around, and that will give us 1. So when x is 0, y is 1. And then we plug in y is equal to 2.5 to the first power, and we get 2.5. Y is equal to 2.5 to the second power, and we actually get 6.25, but 6.25 rounds to 6.3. Because of that 5, you have to go up. If it were less than 5, you would just stay at 2. So we have 6.3. So that's one way that you can fill in your values. The other way is you can use your graphing calculator, put in your general equation, y is equal to 2.5 to the x. And then, let me show you how you enter that, and then you can look at the table. So if you do that, you're going to say y is equal to 2.5 to the x power. And then you can look at your table by hitting second graph. So let's just do a little bit of that. I'm going to pull up the graphing calculator so I can show you that. So we would go to y equals 2.5 raised to the x power. And then we can hit second graph to look at our table. And we see, let me see if this can go larger. And we see that when x is 0, y is 1. When x is 1, y is 2.5. When x is 2, y is 6.25. We round to 6.3. And we can get all our other values from there. So now, let's go ahead and fill in our table. And I'm going to give you your values, and I'd like for you to go ahead and check your answers, please. So when x is 3, y is 15.6. When x is 4, y is 39.1. When x is 5, y is 97.7. When x is 6, y is 244.1. I'm running a little low on space, so I'm just going to write a little angle. When x is 7, y is 610.4. When x is 8, y is 1525.9. When x is 9, y is 3814.7. And when x is 10, y is 9536.7. Okay, so plot the points from the table on the grid to the right. Mark an appropriate scale on the y-axis. The x-axis, we can just go 0, 1, 2. So our scale is going to be 1s because we go in intervals of 1. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now I was looking at this, let's look at our y's. We have 1, we have 2.5, we have 6.3, 15, 39. We could actually go in increments of 5 because we don't have to go all the way up to 9,000. We just want to see the pattern. So let's go by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, and 65, 70. Now we plot our points. The first order pair is 0, 1. So when x is 0, y is 1. The second order pair is 1, 2.5. When x is 1, y is 2.5. And then we have 2, 6.3. 2 going to about 6.3. We're estimating where these are. And then 3 is 15.6. And then at 4, our y is 39.1. At 5, our y is 97.7. And we can see that's too high, so now we're just going to go ahead and sketch our graph. And we see the pattern. So that is what you had to do for A. B, is this an exponential growth or decay? Okay, this is an exponential growth because as x increases, y increases exponentially. So we're going to say exponential growth. Okay, let's go to letter C. Explain how you know this by using an equation. So for the equation, we have y is equal to 2.5 to the x. Our initial value, because we know that y is equal to a times b to the x, so our initial value has to be 1 because all we see is the 2.5 to the x. So from the equation, our initial value is 1. And then from there, we grow 2.5 times each year. So we're 2.5 times more each year. Okay, from the table, if you look at your table, you can see that to get from one y to the next, you have to multiply by 2.5. So I'm trying to give a good way to do it. To get from one y value to the next, we multiply by 2.5 or 2.5. Okay, so that means between here and here is times 2.5. Between there and there, times 2.5. Between 6.3 and 15.6, we multiply by 2.5. That's how you get from one value to the other, okay? And that's also how we know it's exponential. If we look at the graph, we know that the graph is increasing. It's not increasing at a constant rate, or it would be linear. Is increasing okay, and that's how you know it's exponential. Let's move on to number 2. Juan borrows $400 from his sister to fix his car. His sister doesn't like lending Juan money, and so she charges him 3% interest per month. So for A, we want to write a rule of the form y equals that will give the amount of money Juan will owe his sister after X months, assuming that he doesn't make any payments. So what we have is we have $400. That's the borrowing amount, so that's going to be our initial amount. And we know that there's a 3% interest rate that his sister's charging him, so that's above and beyond what he has to pay back already. So remember, you have y is equal to a times b to the x. If you recall, b is 1, because he's having to pay more, it's going to be plus your rate to the x. So now let's write our equation. First of all, it's y is equal to, what's your initial? Good, $400. And then a, excuse me, that was a, so now let's get b. It's an interest rate of 3%, so it's 100% plus 3%. But why did I write it like that? Because you have to write it as a decimal. So 100% as a decimal is 1, and 3% as a decimal is 0.03, and we want to go to the x power. So now let's write our final answer for A. We're going to simplify it. Y is equal to 400 times 1.03 to the x. So that is the answer that we are looking for A. Let me just box it out for you. This is you working your way there, and this is the answer. Okay? B If Juan hasn't paid any money to a sister, how much will he owe after 5 months? So now what they're asking you, think about what they're asking. Are they asking for X or Y? Okay, they're asking for Y. The number of months, your time is going to be your T, or your X. In this situation, you're going to have 5 months will be your X. So now let's plug in for X and we can find Y. So Y is equal to 400 times 1.03 to the 5th power. And what I got when I did that, I just plugged it in at $463.71. So he borrowed $400, but there's some interest on it, so now he owes $463.71. So I would want you to show me how you did that. I want to see all of this, and the final answer would be your $463.71. If he doesn't make any payments, when will Juan first owe more than $500? So the best way to do this is actually to look at the table. So what equation would you put in the table? Right, you would put in your general equation. Y is equal to 400 times 1.03 to the X. And then you're going to look in your Y column, and in your Y column, when Y is more than 500, we want to know what X is. So I'm going to pop up the table. I hope I can pop up the graphing calculator without messing up too much, but we'll see. It's looking okay right now. And let's do a second mode. Go to Y equals and clear it out. And now let's put in our new equation. 400 times 1.03 raised to the X. And now we can look at our table, and we want to look at our Y column and see when we're above 500. We may have to cursor down to find it. I see it right here. And that is in 8 months. So in 8 months, Juan will be over $500. And so I always like to look at the question. Let me go ahead and pop the question back up to make sure I'm answering exactly what they're asking me. So let's look at the question. It says, if he doesn't make any payments, when will he owe more than $500? And from the table, we saw that there was an 8 beside, let's see if I wrote my value down, $506.71. So after 8 months. Or I should say at 8 months, because I don't want to mislead you. Let's say in 8 months, Juan will owe, and you can say more than $500. And if you want to go further, it's because he now owes, and it was $546.71. The main thing is that you know the 8 months, because he owed 400 and something in the 7th month, so the 8th month was when he owed more than 500. That's the main thing you need to know. Okay, let's take a little break here, and then we'll go to number 3.